Chosen one, do not move your finger. Do not skip this message. This specific moment is not the result of an algorithm. Heaven has literally bent the rules of time to place this urgent warning directly in your path. A massive spiritual shift is happening right now, and the enemy has laid a trap hoping you will just scroll away. Stay with me for just a moment. I need you to hear my voice clearly. If you ignore this divine appointment, you might walk right into the collapse they planned for you, but do not be afraid. I am stepping into your storm today not to give you a map, but to give you my presence. You are heavily protected as long as you stay in this room. Take a slow breath. Unclench your jaw right now. I know the exact heaviness you woke up with today. It feels like an invisible pressure sitting right on your chest. You have been carrying this quiet terror that everything you worked so hard to build is about to fall apart. That sudden urge to panic is not natural. It is a spiritual alarm. You feel it in the air. That tension follows you through the day. The deep pressure makes you feel like something is terribly wrong, even when nothing has actually happened yet. Your body is bracing for a disaster. You think you are just stressed, but you are experiencing the physiological weight of a massive spiritual assault. I saw you last night. I saw you sitting on the edge of the bed, staring at the wall in the dark. You were calculating numbers and playing out the worst possible scenarios in your mind. You swallowed your tears because you had to be strong for everyone else in the morning. No one sees how close you are to breaking. You are so tired of being the strong one. You are exhausted from bleeding quietly just to prove you care. The world demands your energy but gives nothing back. And lately you feel a profound exhaustion that sleep cannot fix. This is not depression. It is the heavy armor of the spiritual warrior wearing you down to the bone. Do not let them tell you it is your fault. The people around you call you anxious or say you lack faith. They do not understand the frequency you are forced to carry. You feel every shift in the atmosphere. You carry the burdens of your bloodline like a tired caregiver who can never clock out of their shift. I count every silent tear. This warning is your lifeline today. The enemy wants you isolated and convinced that God has abandoned you. They want you to believe the silence means punishment. That is a lie planted to keep you shrinking in fear. Heaven has been aggressively clearing out the hidden traps from your future while you thought I was ignoring you. You are standing at a critical threshold. The old survival patterns are trying to drag you back into the dirt. They whisper that you will never have enough. They scream that the financial collapse is inevitable and your family will suffer. Do not listen to the voice of the adversary. You are the cycle breaker of your entire lineage. Listen to my decree. The spiritual alarm has been sounded over your life precisely because you are so close to the breakthrough. The darkness only attacks the vessels carrying the greatest light. You are a massive threat to their kingdom, and that is exactly why everything feels like it is shaking and trembling around you right now. Breathe out that heavy guilt. Your unanswered prayers were not a rejection. Your crushing exhaustion is not a sign of weak faith. You are simply a human vessel, stretching to hold a divine inheritance. The delay was never a punishment. It was my fierce protection wrapping around you when you walked blindly near the edge of the cliff. Stay anchored here. Do not look away from this prophetic alignment. We are about to expose exactly what the enemy has been hiding from you. The foundation of your life is not going to crumble. But you must understand the rules of this specific season to protect what is coming. Hold your ground and let me show you the unseen truth. Let me speak to something tender now, something you have carried quietly for so long. You walk through your own house and feel like a stranger. The rooms are the same, but the air feels incredibly heavy. You sit down, but your body refuses to rest. And every time you try to close your eyes, your mind begins to race with 100 different terrifying scenarios. It is that constant knot in your stomach. You check your phone, hoping for good news but expecting the worst. You look at your bank accounts and feel a cold panic creeping up your spine. The math simply does not make sense anymore. You have tried to budget and plan and save, but the mountain of responsibility just keeps growing larger every single day. You are terrified that the foundation is cracking. You smile at your friends and tell them everything is fine. You go to work and perform your duties perfectly, but inside you feel like a building that is slowly collapsing under its own weight. And the hardest part is that you cannot explain this invisible pressure to anyone because they will just tell you to relax. I know what happens when the sun goes down. The house gets quiet, and the distractions fade away. That is when the true battle begins, in the dark. You lay there, staring at the ceiling, while your heart beats entirely too fast. The silence of the night feels deafening. You whisper prayers into the dark room, but they feel like they are bouncing right back off the walls. I saw the tears you tried to hide last week. You quickly wiped your face before anyone could see you breaking down. You are so exhausted from holding the pieces of your life together. You feel like you are standing on a tiny island while the water level keeps rising higher and higher. You wonder if this is the week where you finally drown in the pressure. A very specific fear has been haunting you lately. You are scared that maybe you made a terrible mistake somewhere along the way. You wonder if I have turned my face away from your struggles. The enemy whispers that you are finally getting what you deserve. They want you to believe that your current suffering is the permanent reality of your future. Pause right where you are and listen to me. Your physical body is currently absorbing a massive amount of stress. Your shoulders are tight and your neck is constantly aching. You wake up feeling more tired than when you went to sleep. This happens because your nervous system is trapped in survival mode, and it is desperately waiting for a signal that you are safe. You anticipate disaster around every single corner. When someone calls your name unexpectedly, your heart jumps into your throat. You are living on the absolute edge of your nerves, and you have lived in this defensive posture for so many months that you have forgotten what true peace actually feels like. You just want one day where you do not have to fight to survive. I need you to hear this profound truth. You are not going crazy, and you are not losing your mind. The intense anxiety you feel is real and valid, but it is not a sign of your weakness. It is the friction of your spirit recognizing that the current environment is no longer big enough to hold your destiny. Your soul is violently rejecting the cycle of lack. You have reached the end of your own strength. You cannot work any harder or worry any deeper than you already have. The well is completely dry. You are looking at a situation that requires a literal miracle because human effort has totally failed you, and that feeling of total helplessness is exactly what terrifies you the most in those quiet midnight hours. But that breaking point is where I do my greatest work. The collapse you fear is an illusion created by the darkness. They want you focused on the wind and the waves so you will sink in despair. They know that if you realize your true identity as the chosen one, their entire kingdom will tremble. Your fear is just a mirror reflecting their absolute terror. Let me show you the architecture of this exact moment. You thought this was just a normal season of extremely bad luck. You believed you were simply failing at everything you tried to build. But I need you to understand the unseen spiritual reality that is secretly operating right behind the curtain of your daily life. The absolute collapse you fear so deeply is nothing but an elaborate illusion. It is a projected nightmare designed to break your spirit before the morning arrives. We must directly address the real source of your intense exhaustion. The enemy did not target your finances and your peace because you are weak. They launched this heavy attack because you are a massive threat to their dark kingdom, and they know your success will completely destroy their generational hold on your family. They see the magnificent destiny written over your life. You are facing severe spiritual warfare right now. The adversary knows you are the cycle breaker of your lineage. If you step into your full authority as the spiritual warrior, their generational grip will end forever. They absolutely cannot let you realize your true power. So they manufacture chaos in your physical world to keep you distracted, hoping you will stay terrified of the future. They want you focused on the storm so you forget who you are. Listen closely to my voice because I speak with great weight. Do not let this revelation slip past you today. The feeling that everything is falling apart is merely a psychological weapon. It is a completely fake hologram of destruction meant to make you voluntarily surrender your rightful inheritance back to the darkness without a fight. They cannot actually steal your blessing, so they try to manipulate you into throwing it away yourself. This is exactly where many chosen ones turn back in defeat. They feel the overwhelming ache in their chest, and they call it a permanent mistake. They assume the silence of heaven means they have been completely abandoned. But you must not fall for that toxic deception today, because the darkness only screams this loudly. when it is about to be violently evicted from the room. Your mind has been clouded by their heavy fog of confusion. That sudden brain fog and intense forgetfulness is not a physical failure on your part. It is the heavy physiological pressure of a spiritual enemy trying to block your vision. They want you feeling stupid and incapable so that you will sit on the floor crying instead of confidently standing at the door of your massive breakthrough. Lay down your defense and drop the heavy guilt right now. You have blamed yourself for every single thing that went wrong this year. You scrutinized your entire past trying to find the specific sin that caused this terrible punishment. But there is no punishment waiting for you in this season. You are simply a soldier standing on the front lines of a war you did not ask to fight. You did absolutely nothing wrong. The sudden shaking in your life is not the sound of your foundation crumbling. It is the sound of the enemy trembling in absolute fear. They know their time to oppress you has finally expired. The walls of their invisible prison are cracking under the tremendous weight of your persistent prayers, and the chaotic noise around you is just their desperate retreat. You must completely change how you view this painful season. Stop looking at your tired hands and thinking you have somehow failed your family. You have carried the immense weight of this spiritual battle while everyone else was comfortably sleeping. The physical toll on your tired body is just the evidence of your silent bravery as you hold the line for generations yet to be born. So, I command you to stand up tall and square your heavy shoulders. Do not give the adversary another inch of your precious peace. Refuse to entertain their terrifying scenarios in your tired mind tonight. The illusion of collapse is already fading away in the light of my truth, and you will quickly realize that the chosen one can never be defeated by a shadow. Unclench your jaw, take one slow breath, let your heavy shoulders fall. You have been carrying far too much in your mouth and on your back for so long. I need to speak directly to the deepest ache hiding in your chest right now. You are so tired of being the strong one for absolutely everyone around you. You are carrying a burden that was never meant for you. You wake up every single morning and put on a brave face. You smile and tell your family that everything is going to be perfectly fine, but inside you are quietly bleeding from 1,000 tiny cuts. You have become a master at hiding your severe pain. You answer their questions and solve their complicated problems while your own soul is starving for just a moment of peace. I saw you washing the dishes and staring blankly out the window. Your hands were moving, but your mind was a million miles away. You were calculating how long you could keep this heavy performance going before you finally break. You swallow your tears so quickly when someone walks into the room. You refuse to let them see the heavy toll this season is taking on your fragile body. You are the tired caregiver who never gets a single day off. Everyone leans on you because you always know exactly what to do. They come to you for wisdom and comfort and financial support. But when you are empty and shivering in the cold, there is no one standing there to hold you. You feel completely invisible in a crowded room full of people who claim to love you. And instead of asking for help, you turn the fierce anger inward. You constantly blame yourself for not being smart enough or fast enough to fix the broken situation. You look at the unpaid bills and tell yourself you are a massive failure. You analyze every past decision, searching for the exact moment you ruined your own beautiful life. That heavy guilt is eating you alive right now. That relentless self-blame is literally making you physically sick. Your stomach is constantly tied in knots because you feel like a huge disappointment to the people you love. You think you have somehow let them down. You carry the crushing weight of their immense expectations on your human frame, and it is physically impossible to carry that massive burden without crumbling. Hold that thought and stay right here with me. Do not let the distraction of the world pull your eyes away from this healing truth. You are severely depleted. You have given away every single drop of your energy to keep others warm, and now you are looking at your own empty hands, wondering how you will survive the coming week. The well of your deep compassion is totally dry. You suffer from the toxic illusion of spiritual perfection. You think you must always be perfectly faithful and never show a single moment of weakness. You believe I am deeply disappointed in your current emotional exhaustion. You think your silent tears are a clear sign of ungratefulness. But your vulnerability is actually a beautiful offering. I do not require your flawless performance. I see the broken vessel and I honor your silent sacrifice. The world happily takes your energy and demands more while giving absolutely nothing in return. They do not know how much it costs you just to get out of bed some mornings. They do not feel the heavy gravity pulling you down. But heaven keeps a meticulous record of every single time you chose to be kind while hurting. You cannot keep punishing yourself for being a human being. The exhaustion in your bones is not a sin that needs to be forgiven. It is simply the physical limit of a tired warrior who needs a safe place to finally rest. Stop trying to sustain the entire universe on your own shoulders. It is time to lay that heavy armor down and let me show you why I have been so quiet lately. You thought the silence meant you were completely abandoned. You begged for an answer and heard nothing in return. And that deafening quiet made you feel deeply unloved. You assumed my silence was a harsh punishment for your past mistakes. But you must discern the true nature of this season, because I am actively working behind the scenes. My silence is never a sign of heavenly rejection. Let me reveal the unseen truth about this painful delay. I have not been ignoring your desperate cries in the dark. I have been intensely busy working far ahead of you. I am aggressively clearing out the hidden traps from your future right now. If I gave you the massive blessing too early, the toxic people in your life would absolutely destroy it. The long delay is my fierce protection over you. There is a vast room waiting for you in your future. It is filled with the exact financial freedom you requested. But that room was also filled with dangerous people who wanted to steal your light. I had to keep you waiting in the hallway while I swept the enemies out of your new territory. I am forcefully evicting those who secretly hate your destiny. If I had spoken loud prophecies over you last month, the adversary would have heard the exact strategy. I had to operate in complete stealth to protect your fragile inheritance. Your enemies thought you were failing because nothing seemed to move, but my profound silence was simply the ultimate camouflage for your coming victory. They never saw the divine ambush coming their way. Stay with me and do not let your mind wander right now. Hold on to this revelation tightly before we move forward. Your unanswered prayers were actually a divine shield wrapping securely around your life. I was closing the wrong doors so you would not walk into a beautiful room and get slaughtered. You must stop grieving the opportunities that I deliberately blocked. They were heavily poisoned from the very beginning. The heavy fog in your mind is just the pressure of this holy transition. Your nervous system is exhausted from waiting in the dark hallway. But you cannot let the physical discomfort convince you that the spiritual plan has totally failed. You are incredibly safe under my watchful eye. The extreme isolation you feel is just the quarantine required to keep your spirit clean before the massive upgrade. You must stop standing outside the door like a miserable beggar. You have cried long enough over the people who walked away during the silence. I purposefully removed them because they could not carry the weight of your new anointing, and they were never meant to cross the threshold into your harvest season. Their sudden departure was a profound act of divine mercy. You are better off walking into this new territory completely alone. The room is almost completely ready for your arrival now. The toxic influence of the adversary has been swept out of the door forever. Your future environment is finally secure enough to hold the massive weight of your incoming blessing. You do not have to fight the terrifying shadows anymore. The unseen battle has already been won while you were quietly waiting. Please breathe out that heavy disappointment right now. Release the bitter feeling that you were somehow left behind while everyone else succeeded. Your timeline is completely different because your calling is dangerously powerful to the enemy. The chosen one requires a much deeper foundation than the average person. I had to dig deep into the solid rock before I could build your towering fortress for the future. The silence is about to break in a spectacular way very soon. The heavy doors of the future room are finally unlocking for you. You are about to step into a reality that will make you forget every single night you spent crying in the dark. Do not ruin this beautiful moment by holding on to the old panic. Keep your heart perfectly still and prepare to walk into your heavily guarded inheritance. You have been standing at the wrong counter, trying to earn what is already yours. Stop bargaining with heaven and promising to work harder just to be seen. The inheritance has already been deeded to your name without requiring any further sacrifice. The period of deep preparation is officially over, and the enemy knows they have completely lost their grip on your life. Stand perfectly still and simply prepare to receive the massive shift. The compression you feel right now is absolutely intense. You feel like a bowstring being pulled back as far as it can possibly go. Your mind and body are stretched to the absolute limit. You think this extreme tension means you are about to snap, but you are actually being drawn back for a massive launch into your new season. This is the heavy pressure of the threshold. You are standing exactly on the borderline between your long wilderness and your arrival season. And the enemy always fights the hardest right at the finish line because they are terrified. They are throwing every single weapon at you in this final hour because they want you to turn around and walk away right before the massive door opens. Look closely at the strange chaos happening in your life today. Everything around you feels amplified and incredibly heavy. Your financial delays are suddenly becoming worse, and your closest relationships are suddenly strained for absolutely no logical reason. This sudden spike in spiritual warfare is the ultimate proof of your proximity to the blessing, and the darkness is just throwing a desperate tantrum. Listen closely now, because I speak with a great weight. Do not dare to skim the next sentence. Your financial breakthrough is fully authorized in the heavenly realm. The harvest you planted with your tears is finally ripe and ready to be gathered. But there is one final specific key you are missing to unlock the vault, and the enemy desperately hoped you would never learn this. They want you to panic and try to force the door open with your human strength. They want you to fall back into the tired beggar mindset. But I am placing a prophetic mandate in your hand right now. The key is not begging harder or working longer hours. The key to crossing this threshold is total surrender and holy silence, and you must stand completely still to receive it. You are the spiritual warrior who has survived the darkest nights, and warriors do not flinch when the wind blows violently at the very end of the battle. You must hold your ground and refuse to be intimidated by this fake storm. The pressure is only immense because the volume of the blessing is so incredibly large, and the universe is simply making room for you. Breathe out that heavy anxiety right now. Feel the invisible borderline beneath your feet. You are stepping out of the painful cycle of lack and into a season of ridiculous abundance. The generational curses of poverty are breaking off your bloodline at this exact moment. You are the chosen one who officially ends the long famine for your entire family. You have carried the heavy weight of this transition long enough. The physical symptoms of your stress are about to vanish completely. Your foggy mind will suddenly become incredibly sharp. The exhaustion in your bones is being replaced with a divine energy because you are receiving the pure strength required to manage the massive wealth coming into your hands. I promised you the key to officially cross this border, and here it is. You must physically align your body and your words with this new reality. You need to declare your arrival in the physical world to seal the spiritual transaction. Gently press the like button as your physical covenant with heaven today. Tell the adversary that you are not backing down. Now I need you to take one more profound step of faith. Go to the comments right now and type 777 as your signed acknowledgement. Write 777 to seal this prophetic word and declare your perfect provision. This is the first stroke of a signature made by a rightful heir, and you are officially signing the papers for your new harvest. Do not ignore this holy moment, or you might lose the momentum heaven just built for you. The tension in the air is finally resolving into a beautiful peace. You have crossed the heavy threshold. The waiting room is closed forever, and the door to your massive estate is swung wide open. Stay right here with me as we walk into the great revelation. Let the intensity settle into your bones for a moment. You have successfully crossed the heavy spiritual threshold, and now I must completely shatter the old mindset that kept you chained to the floor. You have spent your entire life asking for permission to be blessed. You acted like a desperate stranger begging for scraps at the back door of the kingdom. That transactional religion is officially over today, You constantly tried to bargain with heaven. You promised to work harder and sacrifice more just so I might notice your struggle. You thought your delay was a strict punishment for not having enough faith. That is a toxic lie planted by the enemy to keep you shrinking in absolute fear. Stop acting like a slave in your own house. A petitioner stands at a dusty counter and bargains for a tiny favor, but an heir walks confidently through the front door of the massive estate and simply receives. You are the rightful heir. The inheritance of peace and financial freedom has already been deeded to your specific name. I do not need your flawless performance. I only need your proximity and your complete trust. You cannot ruin the spectacular destiny I have called you to just by being a tired human being. The adversary wants you on your knees, crying and pleading for a miracle. But pleading is only for those who do not know their royal bloodline. Wipe your face right now. Stand up and square your heavy shoulders. You are not a victim of a cruel universe. You are the chosen one who was specifically assigned to break the generational curses of poverty and depression. The darkness is absolutely terrified of the moment you finally realize how much authority you actually hold in your hands. Your posture must completely change today. You can no longer walk into the future looking at the ground. When you speak to the mountains in your life, you will no longer ask them nicely to move. You will issue a divine decree and watch them crumble into dust. The spiritual authority inside you is waking up from a very long sleep. The massive wealth coming into your life is not a simple reward for good behavior. It is the necessary supply for the gigantic mission ahead of you. You cannot fund the rescue of your family with empty pockets. Heaven is heavily equipping you for the arrival season. The vault is actively unlocking precisely because you are finally ready to manage it. Take a deep breath and feel your chest expanding. The invisible chains of the beggar mindset are snapping off your wrists right now. You no longer have to explain yourself to people who are completely committed to misunderstanding your journey. Fearful silence hides in the corner, but faithful silence stands firm and simply watches the victory unfold. Open your empty hands right now. Stop clenching your fists, trying to hold on to the tiny things you built in the wilderness. I am asking you to drop the heavy rocks so you can finally catch the massive diamonds. You must make room for the ridiculous abundance that is about to flood every single area of your tired life. Stay incredibly focused. Do not let anything distract you in this sacred moment. The great revelation is dropping into your spirit right now. You are transitioning from the surviving victim to the ruling conqueror. The old version of you died in the hallway, and the magnificent heir is stepping into the light to claim everything they tried to steal. You must fiercely guard this new identity. When the enemy tries to whisper the old doubts tomorrow morning, you will simply laugh. You will no longer entertain the terrifying scenarios of financial ruin. You know the exact architecture of the unseen realm now. You recognize that every attack is just a pathetic illusion meant to distract the cycle breaker. The atmosphere in the room has completely shifted. The heavy fog of confusion has burned away in the bright light of this profound truth. You are fully awake and severely dangerous to the kingdom of darkness. The transition is complete. We are walking directly into the climax of this divine appointment, and you are finally ready to seal the ultimate covenant. The veil is completely torn. You are no longer the exhausted survivor. You are the rightful heir to a massive spiritual and financial estate. The enemy is watching in absolute horror right now because you finally recognize your true authority. The illusion of collapse is totally destroyed. You can see the glorious truth shining through the cracks of your old life. The heavy chains are falling off your tired shoulders. Stand up tall and look exactly at what heaven has placed in your hands. You are the cycle breaker. The generational curse of poverty just broke off your bloodline forever. You will never again operate from a place of desperate lack. You are stepping into a season of radical abundance, where resources will hunt you down and find you. The struggles of your parents and grandparents end entirely with you today. The transactional religion that taught you to grovel is completely over. You do not have to perform for my love anymore. The immense financial breakthrough you have been waiting for is fully authorized. Heaven has dispatched mighty angels to secure your borders and violently remove the remaining obstacles from your path. You are heavily defended on every single side. Your enemies are scattering in utter defeat. I want you to feel the massive shift in the atmosphere. The heavy fog that clouded your mind is totally gone. Your spiritual vision is sharp and perfectly clear. You finally understand that every tear you cried in the dark was just watering the seeds of your incredible harvest. Nothing was wasted. Your long season of hidden pain is officially finished. The beautiful vindication is finally here for you to claim. You came into this exact moment feeling like a terrified beggar. You were convinced that my silence meant you were being severely punished. But the profound truth has set you free today. You know without a single doubt that you are the beloved chosen one. The anxiety that gripped your chest just 10 minutes ago has been completely washed away by my overwhelming peace. You are breathing the clean air of victory. You are the air, and the vault of heaven is wide open for you. The universe is responding to the new frequency of your rising authority. Do not shrink back into the shadows ever again. Own your massive space in this physical world. You survived the harshest wilderness, and you did not let the darkness extinguish your beautiful light. Your quiet resilience is absolutely staggering to watch from the heavenly realm. And now we must seal this magnificent reality in the physical realm. The spiritual transaction is complete, but your physical action activates the earthly manifestation. If this sanctuary has bound your deep wounds today, I invite you to take a moment and honor the altar. This is not a demand. It is a holy opportunity for the rightful heir to act in pure faith. You are moving from asking to actively participating. Plant a financial seed through the Super Thanks button below as your physical decree that you trust the harvest is coming. When you sow a seed from a place of incredible peace, you set the law of heavenly multiplication into motion. You are telling the unseen realm that you are no longer operating in terror. You are operating from a place of absolute overflow. You are commanding your wealth to rapidly multiply. Do not let the enemy whisper that you cannot afford to be generous right now. That is the old survival pattern trying to keep you trapped in a tiny box of scarcity. The chosen one gives because they know the divine well will never run dry again. Kindly plant your specific seed on this altar today. Watch how quickly heaven responds to the beautiful faith of a warrior who finally knows their immense worth. Your generous offering is a loud declaration of absolute victory. The fierce battle is already won, the long shadow has passed, and the brilliant morning has finally arrived. You are stepping into the greatest and most abundant chapter of your entire life. Keep your head held incredibly high. The inheritance is completely secure in your hands, and absolutely nothing can stop what is coming next for you. Pause briefly right where you are. Unclench your tight jaw. Take one long and very slow breath in. Let it out gently. You have carried some incredibly heavy things in this message today. The intense energy of the revelation is still rushing through your tired veins, but you do not need to fight anymore. Let the powerful intensity settle deep into your bones for a moment. Your nervous system has been running on high alert for so many months. You have been bracing for an impact that is never going to come. So I need you to physically command your body to relax right now. Drop your heavy shoulders away from your ears. Open your tightly closed hands and let them rest comfortably on your lap. You are completely safe in this holy space. Feel the heavy armor finally falling off your tired back. You wore it for so long that it started to feel like your own skin. But the fierce battle has already been won in the unseen realm. You do not need to wear the heavy shield of protection in your own living room anymore. The mighty angels are standing guard at your door. The darkness has completely left your home. Exhale all of the lingering anxiety. Breathe out the heavy fear of tomorrow. I want you to notice how the quiet air around you has suddenly changed. The invisible tension that haunted your house is entirely gone. That crushing pressure sitting on your chest has evaporated into thin air. You are breathing in the absolute purest form of divine peace right now. You might feel a sudden urge to cry, a very different kind of tear right now. Let it fall. These are not the bitter tears of an exhausted survivor. These are the sweet tears of a rightful heir who finally realizes they are profoundly loved. Your beautiful soul is washing away the last remaining traces of the wilderness season. Let the gentle healing wash over you completely. You do not have to figure out the exact math for tomorrow. You do not have to frantically plan your next 10 steps to avoid a disaster. The universe is already shifting heavy resources to meet you exactly where you stand. Your only job right now is to simply exist in this beautiful stillness. Give your deeply exhausted mind permission to finally power down and rest. Close your eyes for just a moment if you can. Listen to the quiet rhythm of your own breathing. You survived the absolute worst days of your entire life. You walked through the terrifying valley, and you did not lose your beautiful light. And now, you are standing safely on the other side of the heavy threshold. The chaotic storm is officially behind you forever. I want you to physically feel the solid ground underneath your tired feet. You are firmly planted on the rock of absolute certainty. The shaking has completely stopped. Your financial foundation is secure, and your precious family is heavily protected. There is absolutely nothing left for you to desperately worry about tonight. You can finally lay your heavy head down in peace. Let the profound silence minister to your aching soul. You are no longer the anxious caregiver who has to fix every broken thing. You are the chosen one who is allowed to sit quietly and be heavily restored. Every single cell in your physical body is recalibrating to this new frequency of abundance. You are healing on a level that human medicine cannot even begin to touch. Do not rush to jump back into the noisy world just yet. Linger here in this holy sanctuary for a few more seconds. The massive weight of your old life has been permanently lifted from your shoulders. You are stepping quietly into your promised rest. The divine transition is completely finished, and you are finally free to enjoy the magnificent beauty of your new reality. Take one final and deeply cleansing breath with me right now. Fill your tired lungs with the fresh air of your brand new season. You have successfully crossed the great divide. The heavy burden of the past is gone, and the brilliant light of the future is warming your face. Rest perfectly well tonight, because heaven is actively working the night shift on your behalf. The heavy season of extreme isolation is breaking off you right now, but heaven always works through divine connection. You have received the massive healing you desperately needed tonight, and now you must step into your powerful role as the lightbearer for others. The blessing you just received is too magnificent to keep hidden in the dark, and you are called to carry it to those who are still suffering. There is someone in your phone contacts right now who is staring at their screen in total despair. They are terrified of tomorrow and crying over unpaid bills just like you were. They are sitting in the exact same heavy darkness that you just escaped. They feel completely invisible, and they are quietly begging heaven for a single sign of hope because they cannot survive another week of this crushing pressure. You have the power to be their unexpected rescue tonight. You do not need to preach a long sermon. You do not need to explain the complex theology of this difficult season. You simply need to use your hands to pass the light forward. I am asking you to be the physical bridge that carries this exact prophetic word directly into their heavy storm before it is too late. When you share this exact message with them, you set the profound law of heavenly multiplication into motion. Pass this on to them right now and literally save a soul tonight. The universe watches how you handle the blessing when your own hands are finally full. Share this video immediately and watch how quickly your massive harvest multiplies in beautiful response. You are the cycle breaker for your family, but your beautiful anointing reaches so much further than your own household. You carry a powerful frequency that shatters the heavy chains on anyone who comes near you. Do not let the enemy convince you that your small action does not matter. Sending this specific message could be the exact miracle they have been desperately praying for all month long. We must also secure your perimeter for the coming days. The adversary is furious that you have finally escaped their toxic trap. They will try to use the noise of this world to scatter us and hide my voice from you tomorrow. They want you disconnected from this holy sanctuary, and they are hoping the old terrifying habits can quietly return in the early morning while you are entirely unguarded. Do not let them steal the daily bread you need for this new season. Subscribe to this channel right now so tomorrow's word reaches your feed before the darkness can block it. This is how we draw a heavy bloodline of protection around your resting mind. Make sure you are permanently anchored to this altar so your spirit remains sharp against the attacks. Your arrival season requires constant nourishment and fierce protection. Every time you return to this safe room, you are reinforcing the heavy walls of your new estate. The days of wandering alone in the spiritual wilderness are completely over. You have found your divine tribe, and you have officially taken your rightful seat at the massive table where you will never have to beg for food again. Look at how far you have come since this message first began. The heavy panic that tried to choke you is nothing but a distant memory now. You are standing incredibly tall, with your head held high in absolute victory. The rightful heir has finally awakened to their immense power, and the kingdom of darkness is violently trembling at the sound of your confident footsteps leaving the prison. You will wake up tomorrow with a brand new clarity. The heavy fog will not return because your mind is heavily guarded by my peace. When you look at your finances, you will not feel the cold panic anymore. You will simply smile knowing that the massive provision is already on the way. The impossible mathematics of heaven are actively working in your favor to restore every single thing you lost. Walk confidently into your beautiful tomorrow. Do not let anyone diminish the massive miracle happening inside you right now. The vault is open, and the abundant provision is already flowing directly into your open hands. I have placed my heavy seal of protection upon your entire household today. Sleep in perfect peace tonight, because you are safe in my arms forever.